Hello, angels. Welcome back, Music Corner. Sorry it's been a while, but hopefully you're about to be fed for an entire month. As always, my name is Lavender, and I am here to talk to you about music. And it is the end of 2024, which means we're doing a lot of recapping of the year that was musically, culturally, politically, if you're a masochist. And this is part of a series of videos I'm trying to do in December to recap the year as it was, specifically taking a hyper focus on music. And we're taking an even more zeroed in focus this time and talking about singles, just single songs released on their own, from the biggest superstars in music to some of the most beloved underground gems. These are my top 100 singles of 2024. I know most people would normally do 50, but I can't make the cuts. I love so many of these songs too much. It was hard just to get it down to 100. So I'm excited to get into this list. Real quick, a few rules. One song per artist to save just a handful of artists from taking up half the list because they had really good years. And I'm going to fly through quite a big chunk of the list because I do not want this video to take forever to both record and edit and for you to watch. So apologies if you're watching this video and your song is on the list and I breeze right through it. There's just a lot to talk about today. Sound good? Then let's not waste any more time and get into the list. Starting at 100, looking at every single I heard in 2024. These are the best. At number 100, Australian psych rockers King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard with their best song in years, Phantom Island. And at number 9, Erica DeCossier teams up with rap group They Hate Change for the ultra slick R&B jam Ice. At number 98, Poppy ups the intensity once again with her great song, The Cost of Giving Up. And at number 7, Yard Act go tongue-in-cheek on a new level with We Make Hits. At number 96, Romy and Sampha team up for the very beautiful I'm On Your Team. And at number 95, breakthrough British folk outfit Tapir begin to tease towards their sophomore record with Nail in a Wooden Trunk. At number 94, Slater calls out the machine of the music industry in the hyperpop banger No Comma. And at number 3, Japandroids say goodbye with one final youthful rout of fist-pumping rock and roll on Chicago. At number 92, Ethel Cain starts her highly anticipated new era slowly and dark on her song Punish. And at number 91, Balance and Composure with the best track of their comeback, the emo-tinged and very rotten Cross to Bear. At number 90, Subtract released a ton of great singles this year, despite a really, really disappointing album last year, the best of which is this song, Bet You Never. And at number 89, Porches with one of the best songs I've ever heard from this project. Despite the fact that I didn't love their new record, I did love the song Rag. At number 88, Texas band Font punctuate their great debut album with the weird, off-kilter, post-punky track Hey Kekule. At number 87, the odd couple of Frost Children and Danny Brown team up for a fucking banger on Shake It Like a. And at number 86, Burial returns with another combination of ambient and dance music on the epic Dream Fear. At number 85, Cheek Face put their tongue through their entire cheek face on the song Flies. And at number 84, the Decemberists with the most playful single from their highly anticipated new record, the song Oh No. At number 83, Ray. R&B and pop singer Ray, whose debut album I liked last year, returns with this epic, multifaceted, vulnerable storytelling experiment, Genesis. And at number 82, Cali Bello with Energizer, a flavorful, hyperpop adjacent, densely textured piece of fantastical pop. At number 81, Ichiko Aoba is as lush and beautiful as ever on Luciferine. And at number 80, Nia Archives with the first song I heard from her that I really, really loved, the track Cards on the Table. At number 79, The Cure with the most memorable moment of their triumphant return, the song A Fragile Thing. And at number 78, Happy Birthday, Mr. Baskets with the hyperpop love song of the year, I Don't Need You to Love Me Back. At number 77, Moses, somebody getting in his progressive, futuristic R&B bag with the gentle, subtle, but beautiful Vintage. And at number 76, young Miko with her Bizarrap sessions, showing off her versatile talent in a way that not one individual song of hers really can. At number 75, Nick Cave tees off his new album's meditations on divinity with the fascinating lead single Wild God. And at number 74, Liberty Print from Camera Obscura, a return to the band's irresistible indie pop swagger with one of the catchiest songs I heard this year. At number 73, it's Ice Age frontman Elias Rosenfeld with his debut solo album dropping this year, my favorite single of the bunch being the track Worm Grew a Spine. And at number 72, Flow, R&B girl group trio, whose music I've been loving for quite a long time, with one of their best songs to date, the single Caught Up. At number 71, it is the Free Nationals, teaming up with Anderson .Paak and A$AP Rocky on the great single Gangsta, one of the most underrated songs of the year in my opinion. I cannot believe the hip-hop discourse did not graft onto this thing more directly. At number 70, Shoegaze meets hyperpop duo Swanskin teaming up with Estelle Allen on their great debut single August Forever. And at number 69, the B-side of the lead single from Justice's new comeback album, the track Generator, which was actually one of the hardest pieces of dance music I heard all year. At number 68, Mount Eerie teed up the very long new project from Phil with a handful of singles, the best of which, in my opinion, being the track I Walk. And at number 67, Knocked Loose go ferocious, pummeling, and intense on their best slice of hardcore from their new album, the song Don't Reach For Me. At number 66, the first taste we got of the posthumous Sophie record, the track Reason Why with Kim Petras and BC Kingdom. Again, complicated feelings about this record as I expressed in my review, but I still like this lead single a lot. It's really infectious, it's really vibrant, it reminds me of what Kim and Sophie were capable of at their peak of working together. At number 65, Glorilla with one of the hardest rap hits of the year, the track Yeah Glow. And at number 64, Childish Gambino teases off his final album, which ended up being a bit of a disappointment, with the fantastic, soaring genre experiment Lithonia, a song that I like more and more every time I hear it. At number 63, Saba and No ID with the best song from their series of collaborations so far, the introspective track How to Impress God. And at number 62, Shoegaze outfit Julie, who dropped a pretty compelling debut this year with the lead single from that album, Clairborn Practice. At number 61, A$AP Rocky continues to show his love for indie music by teaming up with Jessica Pratt for the song Hijack. And at number 60, Beach Bunny gets existential about feeling too young and too old at the same time on the delightful Clueless. At number 59, Squid, post-punk band Squid, teases towards their third album with the excellent, lengthy, indulgent, crispy Skin. And at number 58, New York punk outfit Crush Fund with the frenetic, wiry, angry, and intense What Would You Do? At number 57, Colin Stetson delivers mind-melting solo saxophone excellence on his remarkably good single, The Six. And at number 56, Disclosure, with their honest-to-God best song in a long time, She's Gone Dance On, followed by number 55, The Weather Station, with the excellent lead single towards her upcoming record, the song Neon Signs. At number 54, Backwash, with the thunderous, epic, multifaceted, and extremely vulnerable song, Wake Up. And all of those descriptors could also be applied to the next track on the list at number 53, Foxing's extremely impressive lead single, Greyhound. At number 52, Anoni, with a post-album single, Breaking, one that proves that she is still so introspective, so nuanced, so touching. And after that, a little bit more of a sledgehammer blunt delivery on the inflammatory diss track that kicked off a year's worth of rap beef, Megan Thee Stallion with Hiss. In the top half, we are starting off with Paranol, who returned to dizzying and dense shoegaze on a new record full of tracks, much like this one. Painless is the song I'm going with. And at number 49, Maruha, who had once again a very interesting year with maybe their most frenetic, tense, and anxiety-inducing track to date, the absolutely excellent Break the Tension. At number 48, Soccer Mommy, with one of the catchiest and best songs of her entire career, the absolutely delightful Driver, and keeping the singer-songwriter ethos going. At number 47, Wednesday's MJ Linderman, with maybe his best song ever, the extraordinary lead single to his new album, She's Leaving You. At number 46, Underscores proves she is so much better than everyone that even her B-sides run laps around her contemporaries with My Guy, one of the catchiest and hardest hitting songs I heard this year, and in a much more nuanced and poised fashion. At number 45 is Vince Staples with the introspective and very serious Shame on the Devil. At number 44, Kali Uchis and Peso Pluma team up for the crossover that Latin pop deserved. I can't believe this thing wasn't a bigger hit than it was. It really deserved it. And at number 43, Los Campesinos announce their return triumphantly with one of their best songs in, maybe more than a decade. The track Feast of Tongues. Oh my God. At number 42, Beyoncé dropping a bomb, the revelation that Chapter 2 of her Renaissance album would be a country record, led off by a delightful A-side and B-side single. But for this list, I'm going with Texas Hold'em. It was the song I couldn't get out of my head for months following its release. And at number 41, clipping with the lead single to one of my most anticipated albums of next year, the banger Run It. At number 40, Bon Iver takes us back to a more naturalistic flavor of his lush, beautiful, intimate indie folk stylings on the track Speyside. And at number 39, Kelly Lee Owens, who released a number of great singles that could run up and down this list, with my personal favorite of the tracks from her new record, the song Love You Got. At number 38, Clairo trades out Jack Antonoff for Leon Michaels and immediately makes literally the best song of her entire career, Sexy to Someone. And at number 38, Agriculture with a ripping single from their new EP, the song In the House of Angel Flesh. At number 36, English Teacher, who made perhaps the most talked about debut album of the year with the awesome Righteous song R&B, whose second half is one of the best things I've heard all year. And at number 35, a track that I cannot believe is not a massive hit, The Weeknd with Dancing in the Flames. Such a great track, such an irresistible and stunning pop song for all of the same reasons that The Weeknd has been so great for so long. At number 34, Chelsea Wolfe with one of the many great singles from her new album, the track Everything Turns Blue. And at number 33, The Smile, who released great singles on top of great singles on top of great singles all year. But I'm taking it all the way back to January and going with the song Friend of a Friend for this list. At number 32, Certified House Jam of the Year, the great Caribou song Honey. I wish I liked this album a lot more, but wow, for a title track, it doesn't get any better than this. And at number 31, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but a track that I cannot believe wasn't a bigger hit than it was. Dua Lipa gets impossibly slick, catchy, infectious, completely irresistible on the swagger-filled Training Season. At number 30, brand new signee to Phoebe Bridgers' Satisfactory Records, Jasmine Forte makes an incredible first impression with her first single on the label Skin on Skin. Her album drops next year, and it is one that I am extremely looking forward to. At number 29, Chat Pile with one of their best songs to date, the brooding but extremely direct Funny Man. And at number 29, Zach Bryan, for all of the controversy that he's worth, continues to be the most interesting and best artist in popular music, and he proved it with singles like Pink Skies. At number 27, Julia Holter with the lush, beautiful, and fittingly circular song Spinning, one of several astoundingly good singles from her new album, Something in the Room She Moves. And at number 26, Canadian neurotic post-punkers and indie rockers Cola, imagining themselves as the band they used to be, with their iest single ever, Bitter Melon. Top 25, and at number 25, I think we have a country artist hitting their potential in a way that I really could have only dreamed of up to this point, and that's Adeem the Artist with Rotations, a really beautiful, really subtle meditation on parenthood and watching your child grow up, and these sensations and feelings that have been written about and sung about so many times. And yet Adeem just does such a really interesting job as a songwriter of making his narrative framing so interesting, and it highlights the extremely real feelings at the core of this track. Such a wonderful, wonderful song. At number 24, singer-songwriter Cassandra Jenkins, who continues to be a personal favorite of mine with her single Petco, which is, honest to God, the best song I have ever heard about dissociating at the pet store. And at number 23, Shoo Shoo with the, surely I'm pronouncing this wrong, single Beneficium? I don't know. Their new album is their most accessible in quite a while, and this is an example of that, even though the sound of this thing can be kind of blistering. The riffs and refrains are so hooky that I can easily see just about anyone enjoying this, which is pretty impressive for the band that kind of invented hoe-scaring music. And at number 22, Jane Remover, keeping her unbelievable streak of great material alive with the infectious and irresistible Flash in the Pan. After writing these very indulgent and somewhat dreary shoegaze songs on her record since it's designated last year, I was blown away by how immediate, punchy, and catchy this song is. She is so astonishingly talented. She's just managed to hit it out of the park with everything she's put her mind to. At number 21, Niloufer Yanya, who has released so much of the best material she has ever shared in her entire career this year. I am going with the track Call It Love, a gentle, sauntering, very beautiful little meditation on love and when something becomes love. It is a really interesting track thematically and narratively, but also just sonically. Her nuance and her reservation plays so well. And at number 20, a song that I know I'm going to have an uphill battle defending on the hits list, one that was not particularly acclaimed, one that was a decent but not massive hit, eventually eclipsed by later songs, but come on, people. Ariana Grande, Yes and. I know that this song is kind of just Vogue, but like, in a vacuum, would Ariana Grande's Vogue not be an enticing premise? If you had told me Ariana Grande was making her Vogue, my expectations would have been through the roof. You would have played me this song, and I would have said, wow, that's even fucking better than I was anticipating. This song deserved the goddamn world, and we're all failures for making this thing not the biggest goddamn hit of 2024. And at number 19, we have a song that had me frothing the moment I heard its opening notes, and that is the irresistible new LCD Sound System track, X-Ray Eyes. This is hardly the most inventive or compositionally indulgent song that the band has ever released, but every single moment that it delivers is just so infectious. I listened to this song 1,000 times because I just didn't want to do anything else. And what more can I say for it than that? This thing is irresistible. It's awesome. I cannot wait for what one of my favorite bands of all time goes on to do next. And at number 18, Gordy Greep. Say what you will about his album. I surely did. There are some spots where the persona is so obnoxious, it's unbearable, truly. But the persona is at its best on the lead single, Holy Holy, where Gordy Greep is wearing this extremely sensitive, extremely self-deprecating demeanor on his sleeve and posing as this sort of character that he plays throughout the record, but doing so with a lot of little details that add a lot of feeling, emotion, and vibrancy to this character. And the results are awesome. This is a fantastic song. The instrumental is amazing. It is long, but the journey is one that is well worth going on. And though it builds in a really dramatic way, it almost counterintuitively unravels from a narrative standpoint as the sort of neurotic self-hatred emerges and the posturing is revealed. But it's a great way to tell a story. It's a song that I'm really, really enamored with, as embarrassing as it is to tell people that I liked this Gordy Greep song. Unfortunately, I don't just like it. I really like it. I kind of love it. That's why it's so high on this list. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. At number 17, Fontaines DC, a band I've never loved, a band I still don't love, and a band whose new album was a huge disappointment to me. But man, do they occasionally release a great fucking single, which is what they did this year with Favorite, a beautiful, vintage, 80s flavored throwback pop song that is sentimental, touching, beautiful. It is done with such a gentle touch, the kind of which I had no idea Fontaines DC was capable of, and for a band that is often so snarling and purposefully inauthentic, this is such a genuinely beautiful track. I just would have never predicted something like this from Fontaines DC, which I guess is why I let myself get my hopes up again for another extremely mediocre new album, but at the very least, between Jackie Down the Line and Favorite, they have dropped genuinely two of the best songs of the past couple years. At number 16, wow, was I blindsided by this one. Ab-Soul and Jid team up for the song Crazier, and boy, it really does feel like a challenge between the two of them to who can make something that is fucking crazier. This is such an experimental, shockingly experimental song with that extremely hypnotic, methodical repetition of the chorus of crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier. It makes me feel fucking crazy. And the verses on this thing are awesome. Ab-Soul's lyricism is as inventive and playful as ever, and Jid's opening verse steals the fucking show. Highlighted by probably the most fucking diabolical rap lyric I have heard in years. The Ryan Shazier name drop is fucking crazy, but somehow Jid manages to get away with it despite how objectively offensive it is. It's legitimately hilarious and part of a great sequence of bars in a great fucking verse. This song is amazing, and I feel like I'm screaming into the void trying to get everyone possible to hear this because I just can't believe how good and experimental and intense and outside the box it is. But man, this was a late climber on the list. I love this fucking song. And at number 15, the roaring, ripping, pummeling rock epic from St. Vincent with Broken Man. This is an absolute tour de force in patience, because this song very well could try to blast you, to blow your speakers out from the opening notes to the finale, but it chooses its moments very carefully, and the results are stunning. One of the best hooks I've heard all year, and the way it builds up to it and sets it up for that dramatic conclusion, remarkable. Great song. One of the best St. Vincent songs in years. At number 14, Beth Gibbons of Portishead fame with Floating on a Moment, who released a really remarkable, spacious, touching, beautiful, just expertly crafted debut solo album after decades in the music industry, and it really does feel like she has been using all that time to meticulously and carefully articulate the sonic spaces that she is performing into, and nowhere is that on display better than this beautiful, soaring, majestic lead single, Floating on a Moment, whose every instrumental sound just comes off so perfect. It all works together so majestically, so beautiful. There are a lot darker moments on the record than this single, but I'm not sure there's anything that is more beautiful. What a lush, delightful song. Number 13, Jamie XX teams up with the Avalanches for the irresistible dance cut, All You Children. Jamie XX, it's been 9 years since his last solo album, but he hasn't missed a beat. Love the new record, one of the best dance records I heard this year, and fittingly, the single that made me dance more than any other this year was this one. From his album In Waves, the track All You Children, which features a contribution from the Avalanches in the sampling, and boy, is it killer. It is just Jamie XX's irresistible dance flavors played through these really unique and fun vocal samples. This song is just great. It is just spectacular. It does not need to be overanalyzed nor over-explained. This is a sunny, delightful, whimsical, catchy, infectious piece of dance music that you should listen to. At number 12, indisputably, the sex jam of the year. Surely no song represented sex in 2024 more than Nasty by Tinashe. Tinashe has been overdue her credit for quite a long time, and while it's unfortunate she followed this great single up with one of her worst projects in years, hopefully Nasty did enough to make people pay attention to Tinashe for forever, because this is an elevated R&B sex jam in every sense of the word. Her performances are beautiful, the instrumentation is beautiful, but the show-stopping moment is in her songwriting, in her lyricism. How many times this year did we hear someone say, I've been a nasty girl? Did we hear someone say, need somebody to match my freak? I mean, these things entered the lexicon the moment that anyone heard this song, and that's because they're genius. They're brilliant ways to talk about sex, and the fact that Tinashe has always been like this makes it all the more satisfying that she finally broke through with a song that found a way to even land on the charts, certainly become a TikTok and social media favorite, and I hope she continues to get her flowers going forward, because Tinashe has always been great, and this is kind of a defining moment for her career's worth of greatness. And speaking of a career's worth of greatness, former Sonic Youth singer and songwriter Kim Gordon returned this year with a second solo album, and one that is less broadly experimental than its predecessor, but one that dials in the focus into gritty, thumping trap beats, heavy distortion, and cold, calculated delivery of the vocals, all of which is on display flawlessly on the record's lead single, Bye Bye. And this is really the perfect track to put so many of these features on display. Seeing her dig in, focus, and go direct on all of the things, all of the amenities that she no longer needs with this cutthroat demeanor is just so satisfying. I cannot say enough great stuff about this record, and this song in particular, which encapsulates everything that is so surprising, so fascinating, and so good about Kim Gordon sounding like this decades into her career. Top 10! Here we go. And because it's one of my lists, you knew he was going to be here. James Blake with Thrown Around. While I didn't really take into consideration the fact that this thing has the best music video of the year, you should watch it because it has the best music video of the year. But why it's on this list is James Blake's remarkable combination of beautiful, focused, multifaceted vocal performances that are just stunning, with his amazing eye for sonic detail. This track is such a journey from its most intimate and gentle moments to its beautiful little synth arpeggios that soar into sunny interludes. It is just fantastic. The versatility of the song is fantastic. The execution and the poise of James Blake at the control center for this song is as amazing as ever. The fact that he continues to release material that is this stunning is some kind of miracle. And speaking of songs that everybody knew I was going to have to talk about, my God, probably the one I can imagine a lot of people have been waiting for, and one that very well could top a lot of lists this year. The crystallizing moment of rap beef in 2024. Kendrick Lamar. Not like us. Yeah, the way that a lot of people tell it will make it seem like Kendrick was invincible in this beef, but he made a lot of mistakes. The Haley Joel Osment, Joel Osteen flip up on Euphoria is pretty embarrassing, as are some of the lyrics to this song. The OVO, other vaginal option bar, is something that we would be roasting the shit out of lesser rappers for saying. That's Eminem grade corny. But Kendrick delivers it with a swagger and a poise that is almost irresistible, and it's cut with several truly hilarious, timeless, and classic moments of rap beef. This thing was pretty much immediately entered into the annals of rap history as soon as it landed, because it's not just a beef track, a response track, a diss track. This thing was the honest-to-God song of the summer. Kendrick Lamar teamed up with DJ Mustard and delivered a track that meant so much, not just to the city of LA and to West Coast rappers in general, but to anyone who has been consuming the past decade plus of his content, flexing his versatility, his focus, his talent as both a songwriter and an identifier of compelling instrumentals, as a trendsetter. This song is such a perfect encapsulation of why Kendrick Lamar is Kendrick Lamar, and no wonder it could very well go down as his most recognizable song of his entire career. At number 8, a team-up of two of the most beloved singer-songwriters in the indie folk world, Waxahachie and MJ Linderman, on the song Right Back to It. Now, I like Waxahachie a lot, despite not being a huge fan of her most acclaimed record, but I was pretty sure this new album is going to be good, especially after hearing Planes with Jess Williamson a few years ago and how good Jess's record was last year, but I was just not ready for how good this song is, and MJ Linderman, to his credit, understands to take a back seat on the song, and his backing vocals are just perfect. But at the end of the day, it is Katie's instantly identifiable, creaky, beautiful sauntering vocals and the absolutely irresistible refrains piled one on top of another that make this one of the best songs of the year. And if you have taken a pass on it, or if you're not typically a fan of either of these artists, please do yourself a favor and listen to this song, because there's a pretty good chance it'll win you over. At number 7, speaking of singer-songwriters, one who has a decade of making some of the best material that indie music has to offer, and may very well have just dropped his best album yet, Father John Misty. And Jesus Christ, this thing's third single, She Cleans Up, is one of the grooviest fucking things I've ever heard in my life. I actually may have been wrong identifying that Jamie XX song as the track that made me dance more than any other this year, because I swear to God, She Cleans Up has a groove that is so irresistible and a chorus that is so catchy, I just can't help myself. And yet what it's cut with is some classic Father John Misty songwriting. The weird, playful, referential style of humor, the hilarious framing, all of the bizarre things that make Josh Tillman such an iconoclast within indie music are present on this song, and it also just happens to be one of the most infectious things I've heard in my entire life. And at number 6, another massive shift in demeanor, this time to the Godspeed You Black Emperor song, Gray Rebel, Green Shoots, which is the only single released from their remarkable new record. It serves as the closing track and a surprisingly optimistic way to end the album off. For a record that touches so directly on the genocide in Palestine, it is such a fascinating conclusion to reach, the idea of life growing back out of this rubble. It is so surprisingly optimistic for a band whose sound has always been so pessimistic. But much like Anoni last year, turning the page over into a new era of more optimistic and assertive protest music. I think Godspeed You Black Emperor have hit on something that I and a lot of other people really needed to hear as this international tragedy goes on. And while I'm certainly not the best person to talk about the political implications of what they're saying here, I do feel pretty equipped to say that musically, this is masterfully crafted, expertly performed, truly beautiful, stunning, and emotionally dynamic post-rock. Everything that has always made Godspeed You Black Emperor an iconoclast still exists here, and this is in fact a great encapsulation of it. Starting off the top 5, Arooj Aftab with Whiskey. Her new album had several moments that I like a lot, and also a versatility and a dynamism that I was just never that aware she was capable of. And wow, is it all on display on the track Whiskey. This song certainly doesn't see her at her most compositionally expansive. This is not a track where you're going to hone in on her classical training or her experiments in jazz and neoclassical music on the side. This is very much a singer-songwriter record, but wow, is it one done with just a majestic, awe-inspiring performance and a touching intimacy, both to the singing and to the writing of the song, that is incredible. It's almost one of those songs that feels too intimate. It feels like peeling back the curtain in an extraordinarily vulnerable way, as in, I shouldn't have access to some of these feelings and to some of these stories and the intimacy of the relationship at the core of this song, but God, it's just irresistible, and I can't look away from it. And the fact that it is presented in such catchy motifs and refrains too is remarkable. There's just so much to be impressed by in this song. Truly, I think it may show what makes Arooj Aftab special as a singer-songwriter more so than anything else she's ever done. And at number 4, a formal apology to Tinashe, who socially may have delivered the sex jam of the year, but I am going to take a personal fly on this one and say that though I may be an outlier, there was no song that meant sex to me personally in 2024 more than the goddamn Remy Wolf song Toro. I was pretty skeptical of Remy Wolf coming into this year because I hadn't been crazy about her material yet, and I actually like her new album quite a bit. It is full of explosive, catchy moments, none of which are better than the unapologetic sex jam about having the loudest, wildest, craziest, most attention-grabbing sex possible. Toro, what a fucking banger. What a great piece of songwriting. I don't even know what to say. I've spent the entire year screaming into the faces of my friends and sexual partners about how fucking good this song is, and I am just at a loss of words. I have nothing left to say. This is the catchiest song of the year. This is the sexiest song of the year. This song has made me a Remy Wolf fan, and I will be one until the sun burns out, even if she never releases another even decent song. That's how good Toro is. That is how much I feel personally represented by and inspired by this amazing song. That is all I have to say. Thank God she's done talking about sex. Wrong. Number 3, FK Twigs, Eusexua. And holy shit, does this song remind me so much of Cellophane. And not because the songs are necessarily similar. Cellophane is obviously a much more vulnerable, much less sexual, much more harrowing outing for FK Twigs, but similarly acclaimed to Eusexua because both songs are surprisingly experimental, and yet in the details of the instrumentation and in the obvious dramatic, harrowing, and incredible vocal performances that Twigs is able to provide to both of them, both of these tracks find a certain irresistible majesty that causes them to spread further and wider than I would have ever anticipated. And yeah, Eusexua being the most acclaimed song of 2024 certainly didn't seem like a foregone conclusion, but Jesus Christ, is it obvious now in retrospect? FK Twigs has been cooking for a long time, and in what will hopefully actually be the long-awaited follow-up to Magdalene, she got off to an unbelievable start. Much less to say that the 2 singles released since then have also been fantastic. It's certainly the favorite to be my favorite album of 2025, and this song is a big reason why. You don't need me to tell you why this is a masterpiece. Everyone has spent the past 3 months explaining why this is a masterpiece. It is just a truly remarkable song. And as we round the corner and approach the finale of this video, I feel as though the surprises are done, at least if you've been watching my content. And at number 2, we are going with the album I can't stop talking about, the band I can't stop talking about, probably one of the songs that defined my 2024 the most, simply because I was blindsided by how off-kilter and experimental yet completely irresistible it was when it launched as a lead single, and it became the thesis to easily one of the best, if not the best album of the year. And that's Vampire Weekend with the song Capricorn. They really did something here. This was literally the year that I said that Modern Vampires was my favorite album of 2013, and honest to fucking God, the more I listen to this new Vampire Weekend record, the more I think it might be their best work ever. And certainly among the best indie albums of the decade so far. I mean, this thing is just nearly flawless, nearly perfect, about as close to a 10 out of 10 as you can get without being a 10 out of 10, which is amazing because it's 10 songs. Sure, they have a moment here or there that I'm not crazy about, but in large scope of this record, it is just astonishing. And Capricorn does such a great job of representing why it's so astonishing. It is a return to a familiar sonic palette of indie music, and yet with these subtle, tiny, gentle little adjustments, less ham-fisted than on similarly excellent tracks like Gen X Cops. Capricorn takes a more nuanced approach to interpolating some of the distortion, some of the edge that this record has had that previous Vampire Weekend records haven't, and it does it masterfully. And it is also a flawless example of the lyrical ability, the lyrics on display on this record, the ability that it has to tell these nuanced, focused, fascinating stories, and do so in ways that are so irresistible, so infectious, it is almost unbelievable. Believe me, I am ready to be done talking about this record for a while, but it has dominated my 2024 because it is a masterpiece. It is unflinchingly spectacular, as is Capricorn. You could have taken any of the 4 singles from this record and put them right here on this list. That's how good they are. Vampire Weekend made the 1 song per artist rule on this list on their own because Mary Boone and Classical and Gen X Cops could probably fill out the rest of the top 5. And at number 1, again, this may be the anticlimax of anticlimaxes, but I just have to give it to the most talked about, discoursed over, and yet similarly acclaimed album of the year, Charli XCX's Brad. And yeah, I had my issues with this record. It is flawed. Tracks like Club Classics and Apple make up some of the weakest Charli songs in a long time, but it is still a great record, a remarkable record, one whose club jams like 360 and Back to Back go toe-to-toe with its more intimate, introspective moments like the brilliant So and I think about it all the time, 2 of my favorite Charli XCX songs ever. And it was also a massive, sweeping cultural moment, and while in terms of scale, the most streamed tracks from the album and the remix album that followed may have been a collaboration with Billie Eilish or Ariana Grande, There is one song from the greater Brat era that made a caliber of impact on popular culture that most artists could only dream of. And that isn't because it was a trendsetter. That isn't because it was the biggest hit of all time. I think it just meant more to everyone than we ever really imagined such a pop song could. And for the one person watching this that doesn't already know what I'm talking about, my favorite single of 2024, fairly obviously, is Charlie XCX and Lord's remix of Girl So Confusing. It will be impossible for people that did not experience this firsthand to be put into what this song means retrospectively, but allow me to do my best. As we're all dissecting the excellence of Brat, Girl So Confusing becomes one of the standout deep cuts because Charlie XCX is calling out one of her contemporaries on this song. And while it's hard to call it a diss track, she's clearly airing some feelings of grievance in a public setting, which is certainly not nothing. And the debate over who this song may be about is dominated by one name, and that's Lorde. The biggest reason being the line about how they've got the same hair. But before we could really even get any concrete confirmation or denial of whether it's about Lorde, all of a sudden, Lorde's on the remix. And this thing is vulnerable in ways that most artists could only pretend to be. On her contribution to this song, Lorde is responding directly to the first verse on the track, which is amazing. And she is delivering a response that sort of obfuscates any idea that she was attacking Charlie directly, wearing her vulnerabilities on her sleeve and explaining how they impact her and how they impact her actions, and along the way saying some of the most fucking iconic shit I've ever heard in my life. The fact that it took this long for us to come up with the phrase, "let's work it out on the remix," is un-goddamn believable. And she ends this entire song off with a declaration of friendship, of companionship. "I will ride for you, Charlie," one of the most emotional declarations of sisterly love that you will ever hear in pop music. This is such an iconic, such an astonishing moment. This is like an extinction level impact in the world of popular music. And I sound like a fucking lunatic if you do not know or care about who these people are, but oh my god, moments like this are just gems. They're like comets that pass by every couple of years, and there is no controversy here, there is no beef here, just an expression of vulnerability, of love, a mature adult response and conversation, and one that is just so instantly, timelessly a piece of pop culture history. Surely I'm over-exaggerating the importance of this song, of this friendship. Charlie XCX could go back to making experimental hyperpop tomorrow and never touch the top 100 again. But for what it's worth, the entire Brat moment was worth it. All of it, even the cringy parts, even the worst attempts at co-opting and reforming the Brat aesthetic, all worth it. Every second of it. For this song alone, for this moment, for what it meant, and for how it encapsulated what being a music listener, a music critic, a music lover, a pop music lover, and a pop music stan felt like in 2024. This is perfect. And that's the list. Let me know in the comments what songs you love, what songs were snubbed, what tracks would top your list. And if you want to read further thoughts on all of these songs, nearly every song on the list I talked about on my Best New Tracks segment on my blog, and many of them I talked about in even more detail in my reviews of the albums and EPs they eventually landed on. If you want to read my interview with Danny Brown, where I talk about Shake It Like with Frost Children, check that out in the description. I interviewed Callie Bello this year about her new album. I reviewed new albums from Sophie and Charlie XCX in Ringtone Magazine. Links to all of that and more of my content in the description. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for even more end of year content coming soon. Mwah.